TYT Sports. How you doing out there in internet land?
I'll take it away. So, Condoleezza Rice, her name has been floated around as the Cleveland Browns' next head coach. I'm not kidding. Like, this is a very, very serious thing. By the way, that is also Rick Strom, who looks great in a Cleveland Browns uniform. So that is Condoleezza Rice. Her name has been floated. Adam Schefter wrote this story yesterday. It was a huge thing. Now, here's what Cindy Bourne wrote via the Washington Post. It had seemed unlikely in the extreme that we'd see Rice wearing a headset on the sideline, drawing up X's and O's. She would function more like a CEO, supplying leadership and organization, both areas in which the Browns could improve, which I totally agree on. And by the way, for the record, I do think that if it were a female head coach, hire someone who has NFL experience.
That's all.
Like, why?
It has nothing to do with the fact, because by the way, this is the barriers that have to go through. First of all, I've read a couple of, I like to read regular people's comments on things like this.
Okay.
So that I can see where.
By the way, you saying I like to read regular people's comments, it leads me to believe that your next comment is gonna make the regular people to be dumb.
No. Just
Okay.
Their approach, because I'll read people that are within the NFL or broadcasters or normal talking heads that have blue checks by their names on Twitter about these things. But I just like to read the randoms to see what people are thinking.
Okay.
This is where the problem comes in. We can see a female head coach or a female positions coach to eventually come to that point.
Yes.
Sure, we could. A lot of other people cannot. Not because Condoleezza Rice does not have NFL coaching experience, which would be the reason why I wouldn't do it, because I wouldn't hire John Schmo that doesn't have NFL coaching experience either. Not because he's a guy, because all the rest of them are, but because he doesn't have NFL coaching experience. So the problem that I saw that people had with it was, glad someone's finally waking up to this whole problem. And they never specified what the problem is. The problem they have is that she's a woman.
Yes.
That's what they have to sell.
Yes.
So there needs to be time for this to flow through the regular folks before it can really become a thing.
So let me skip ahead.
And they're wrong, by the way, but that's the thing. You have to convince them.
They're totally wrong. Let me skip ahead here to just go over some of her credentials and how she's been involved in football. Rice, who is 64 years old, lifelong Browns fan, a love she developed from watching Cleveland's games with her father at their home in Birmingham, Alabama. She attends the games, spotted on the field with the owners before a game on September 30th. Here's what is just so incredibly random about Adam Schefter's report. A Cleveland Browns source went on to say, she's an amazing person.
The hoodie. No,
I mean,
put her in the front office. She knows how to handle things, right? She's a huge football person. She knows the game and how things can be put together.
Enough said. So Rice's commission recommended, this is more to her credit, the NCAA let players who enter the draft but are not drafted change their minds and go back to school, which is a humongous rule and also a win for the players. She was allowed finally into Augusta National. That was a humongous story that occurred in 2012, which, by the way, long overdue. Condoleezza Rice has become more involved in sports, specifically on the collegiate level, since serving as Secretary of State under President Internets. From 2005 to 2009, she was one of the inaugural members of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, where she was there for 3 years. But here's the important point via The Athletic. If the NFL is going to finally be serious about diversifying its coaching ranks, floating famous names with little to no football experience like Rice, not the way to do it. Jameel Smith weighed in. I have many thoughts about this. A principal concern that I have about this is that the Browns, whom Condoleezza Rice and I both love, will use her to satisfy the Rooney Rule and will fail to consider any other black candidates for the head coaching job. That's it. Jameel wins.
Totally.
That's it. Right?
That's why Jameel's got the blue check by his name. That's why.
Totally.
I didn't even think about that.
But it's 1,000,000% true.
Absolutely.
Yep. He went on to say John Dorsey, the Browns GM, did say that he'd consider a woman for the job. Leaking that Rice would be the first such candidate underscores what a joke that was. This is throwing table scraps at feminist goals, using that promise for PR value rather than progress. Again, he's Turk of the day. So there's many more to this, where Lindsey Jones wrote about all of the women that are involved in the National Football League. Yeah, I agree with everything that we have said up to this point. I'm sure there are, because let's just be totally real about this, okay? The betting odds to her being the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, not because she's a woman, but because she has no experience in the National Football League, has to be plus 1 million. Because it's just not gonna happen.
I'm trying to look for the year that Condoleezza Rice, they were bringing her up for the commissioner, right? Mm-hmm. I think it was just after the Bush administration.
Which I could see her being commissioner. I could see her being president of a team. I could see her being an executive of a team. If, as Jamil alluded to, as Lindsey Jones of The Athletic alluded to, there are many other names that are being groomed right now or have already been groomed with NFL experience being with the team on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this just isn't it.
I mean, it's not it. And then hopefully, as again, Jamil pointed out, hopefully it doesn't push back both. First off, lets them use it for the Rooney Rule and also pushes back any potential progress for women.
Very much so.
Keep an eye on it for that type of stuff.
Sorry?
We'll have to keep it, not we, but the public in general should keep an eye on that because it's pretty obvious now.
Agreed.
What it could be used to do.
Agreed. Let us know your thoughts. Comment section below, subscribe to 2IT Sports. You know what's my favorite song? You could ring my bell. So do it, why don't you? Ring the damn bell and download the TYT app. Available on Android and iOS.